fun. I get to see everybody. I'm very happy.
I'm going to reintroduce you to my wife. Yes, he's over here at this table. Sitting next to Pat. Silence. Bob, you good? Welcome everybody. My name is Scott Miller, and I am a board member of Green Energy Ohio, and it's my pleasure to moderate today's session. For those on the live stream, you cannot see that we have a full house this morning, this afternoon. We've got about 75 intrepid electric vehicle enthusiasts with us, and we are very pleased to have you all. For those of you who are not in attendance, directly in attendance, it has been a wet and soggy morning to talk about electric vehicles, but boy, it really does my heart good to see all of you come out and share the story about electric vehicles and the adoption of electric vehicles. I want to give a special thanks to our planning committee. When we conceived of this event, more than 6 months ago, we started reaching out to a number of statewide organizations, Clean Fuels Ohio, and others. One particular organization stood out in their enthusiasm about this, and that was Drive Electric and their regional chapters. And the Drive Electric chapter here in the Dayton area was, by hands and away, stood above the crowd. Especially, I want to give special thanks to Tim Benford, our host for today. So thank you. And his team. I suspect that all of you received multiple calls and emails from Tim over the last several weeks. So we have Tim. We know exactly who to blame for being here today. The Green Energy Ohio, for those of you who are not aware, is a statewide nonprofit focused on the transition to clean energy. We carry out a variety of programs. We are a membership-based organization, and so this is my shameless plug that if you enjoy today's activities, please give Green Energy Ohio a look and consider becoming a member. Today's panelists are going to help us kind of flesh out the story for Southwest Ohio. Dayton, of course, I'm a Dayton native, but I currently live and reside in Southeast Ohio and in Athens. But I grew up in Huber Heights, and I know the proud manufacturing history of the city of Dayton and the automobile industry, and what has happened over the last 20 years, and also the future of electric vehicles and connected and autonomous vehicles, and all forms of transportation infrastructure. And so we are here to talk about the future. We are not here to talk about the past. And this is really exciting. And Green Energy Ohio, when Green Energy Ohio comes at this from powering these electric vehicles from clean and renewable sources of fuel. And when we couple those, we could really reduce our CO2 emissions and really get serious about addressing the climate crisis that's before us. So I'm going to just very briefly introduce all of our panelists. Then I'm going to introduce the Executive Director of Green Energy Ohio, who will introduce our first speaker. And then after that, I will just ask the speakers to come up in the order that I list them. And if you get confused, I will remind you which order you need to come in. So very, very quickly, our speakers are going to be in order. The Mayor of Dayton, Nan Whaley. We're going to have Montgomery County Commissioner Carillon Rice. We're going to have the Dayton Sustainability Manager, Mark Charles. going to have the Automotive and Technology Coordinator for Sinclair Community College, Justin Morgan. Lamise Mubaslat, the Dayton Regional Green Director, will then address us. Tim Terrell from Plug Power, followed by Brent Boyd, the COO for Solar Power and Light. And then finally, Robert Beeler from AES, and who's the Program Manager at AES. So with that, I'm going to introduce the Executive Director of Green Energy Ohio, Jane Harf. Jane and I have worked together for many, many years, probably more than we want to admit, in multiple iterations of our careers. More recently, Jane recently asked me to join the executive committee for Green Energy Ohio, and I told her, I really don't have time for that. And she said, well, why don't you join the program committee? And I said, okay, I can do that, that's fine, I'll sit on the program committee. And then she asked me, give me a program idea, and I came up with this idea, so I really have nobody to blame but myself for this week's activities. So Jane, why don't you come on up here and share with us a little bit, and then introduce the mayor.
Thank you, Scott. I don't know if this comes down. Thank all of you. There's a reason why we call you EV enthusiasts. I mean, enthusiasm is evident in every stop we've made so far, truly. And nowhere more than today in a pouring rainstorm. So I really appreciate your coming out. We have, as Scott mentioned, been planning this event for over 6 months. And we initially reached out to the Drive Electric teams across the state, and they stepped up in an amazing way. And Tim has already been recognized, but I want to also offer my personal thanks for all that he has done in Dayton. And those of you who might know Gary Heaton, who is doing a similar fabulous job down in Cincinnati. I want to thank our sponsors today, first and foremost for the use of this wonderful room, which is perfect for this kind of an event, would be Solar Power and Light, represented today by Brent Boyd, who is also a member of the Green Energy Ohio Board. So thank you to Solar Power and Light for supporting this event in this really meaningful way. We have other sponsors with us, most of whom I think will be speaking. Plug Power, AES Ohio, Dayton Regional Green, EBEB Solutions, Sinclair Community College. This really is a team effort. And I think Scott mentioned that we wanted to look at the interface between electric vehicles and renewable energy. But we also wanted to look at training, workforce training, and employment opportunities. We wanted to look at infrastructure, which, as you all know, is one of the biggest hurdles to greater adoption of electric vehicles, which I am discovering this week as I drive my Polestar around the state, finding places to charge and making sure I don't get too low. So I'm really getting an education on it. It's wonderful. But we need to have the infrastructure. And I'm confused about why charging stations are in empty parking lots instead of next to Starbucks. That's sort of my goal. I think I may write to Starbucks and say, come on, you need to put a charging station by every one of your standalone stores. But in any event, it has been a great week so far. Thank you very much. I am going to introduce Nan Whaley. And Mayor Whaley has spoken at, this will be the third event that I helped organize at which that she attended and spoke. And she always brings the message that is right on point. There is no question. She was raised in Indiana, but she came to Ohio to go to the University of Dayton. In 2005, she was elected as the youngest female to serve on the Dayton City Commission. And then she became mayor in 2013. Since then, and those of you who live here know, she has faced multiple challenges. The opioid crisis, manufacturing dislocation, tornadoes, white supremacy marches, and she managed all of it with a commitment to the community, with grace, with wisdom. And I think that's what we ask of our community leaders. Her focus has been on community development, economic revitalization, education, and basically making sure that government is responsive to its residents' needs. The municipal governments of this state are really where a lot of progress is being made right now on clean energy. There is an organization which is also a statewide sponsor called Power a Clean Future Ohio. Dayton is one of the cities to have signed on. And, you know, we have some challenges at the State House. I'll just say that. But what encourages me is at the local level, people understand the importance of this. They are embracing this. They are setting carbon neutrality goals and, you know, really moving forward. Big cities, smaller towns, it doesn't matter. That's where the action is. And so that's why I am very pleased today to introduce Mayor Nan Whaley.
Well, Jane, thank you, and thank you for your just great leadership through the state of Ohio as we have a motley brand of local elected officials across the state trying to push the issue around sustainability and clean energy, and we're super grateful for your leadership and helping us herd together. Our table kind of joked when she said that we have challenges at the State House. I think everybody at our table said, well, that's an understatement. But it's a real great pleasure to be here, and want to say thank you to Tim and Allison Benford for putting this together. You guys are just great leaders. I mean, Tim did it, but I know he doesn't do anything without you, Allison. So we really appreciate the great leadership you provide for the community. And always excited to come to the EV events. I think last time we really got together, if I'm remembering right, we might have met one other time. I think you guys had me drive a Chevy Volt for a week, is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. I did. My husband and I loved it. They stopped making Chevy Volts. It was a real problem for us now, so we're continuing to look on, and as we're really excited about General Motors' news around all electric vehicles here soon. We want to buy things from America that are energy sustainable, so we're really excited about that. And really grateful that you always continue to advocate and open our eyes in our community. So let me just make a couple of comments about where Dayton is right now in this work. I'm really proud of the situation that we're sitting in when we're talking about sustainability overall. We have been moving in that direction for several years now. And I'm really excited that in 2019, right before the pandemic, we created a sustainability office in the city manager's office right on the second floor to direct these initiatives. And it has made a great difference for us in the city. In late August of last year, the commission and I approved a comprehensive strategy to make the city more sustainable across all operations and service delivery of the city. And you know, we've had these green teams across the city for a while. Michelle has been a part of, and others. But really, we recognized to really be really serious about this, we needed to have somebody waking up every day, thinking about this every day, figuring out a way that we can really leverage our buying power, leverage our zoning power, leverage all the power that the city has. And Mark Charles has been doing that for us, and we're super grateful for his talent and leadership in this work. So, we like to look at this work, as you all do, I think, in Ohio, through a jobs frame. We know sustainability is the future. We know it's going to create good paying jobs, whether it's making solar panels, or making electric vehicles, or making the batteries to those electric vehicles. And it is imperative that Ohio and Dayton are a part of that future. And we risk, frankly, right now, with some of the actions in the legislature, of not being a part of that. And we do that really with a wave of goodbye of good paying jobs to other communities and states. And so that's why this is just so very important. So of course, I'm talking to the evangelists of this work, right? Of course it's about saving our earth, but there is a real economic impact that will matter to the future of our community and of our state and our country over the next 10 years. So here's what we also have done. In April, we've voted in Dayton to declare a climate emergency, to make a commitment to renewable sources of energy. And so we've set some goals in Dayton. We're going to purchase 100% renewable electricity for the city of Dayton by 2035. We're going to purchase 100% of renewable electricity for the community by 2040, and to achieve carbon neutrality in the city by 2050, and to convert the city's vehicle fleet to 100% electric vehicles by 2035. We're looking forward to working with the federal and state governments as we install the 500,000 charging stations across the nation that President Biden has called for, and the region to address charge range anxiety about long distance travel, including interstate trips via EVs, so we'll be a partner in that. We want to hear from Daytonians about the best way to achieve these goals, particularly from you. You know, as we start thinking about where we put chargers, like I think Jane says, not in the places that nobody's thinking about, but the real prime locations. You know, for example, in Dayton, you know, our first chargers were actually right across from the Dragons Field, right? We wanted to make it where is the most a centerpiece of our community. And I know now, like perhaps with the arcade and new developments, there are more opportunities for us to do that on the street as well as in the city's parking garage, which we're trying to encourage city employees again to drive electric. So we want to hear from you about that. What are the ways that we can promote this, showcase this work? We think it's really, really important. And it's important for us to fully embrace this. The time is now. I think we're going to see dramatic changes in this country around sustainability and energy, which I know you all have been working and fighting for decades, and so I want to say thank you for that. And then I would just encourage you, you know, do not let Ohio get left behind out of this. Please, you know, be loud, grow, share with the legislature, share with our representatives that we need these jobs in our community, that this work means job growth to our communities in our region. And if they vote to, like, say, I think there's one piece right now that says, like, no solar or renewable energies, they are pushing away the future from Ohio. So I'm begging you to do that work on our behalf as community leaders as well. Thanks so much for having me. Thanks for the hat. And thanks for your guys' advocacy.
Hi, I'm Carillon Rice, Montgomery County Commissioner, and it's truly my pleasure to be here with all of you today. This is my first EV event, so first, but many to come, right? And I am honored to be joining you here at Carillon Park. Not only is it a beautiful place that showcases the best of Dayton's past and present inventions. So what a place to have this event. As you all know, Dayton has been the home to spectacular innovation over the years. John Patterson's cash register that you can check out in the hallway, Irma Frase's Pop-Top, Charles Kettering's many inventions, and of course, our beloved Wright brothers, just to name a few. And as the world shifts to a greener mindset, we as a county administration recognize how we play a key role in maintaining a healthy, sustainable, and equitable environment for our residents. According to the World Health Organization, 93% of all children live in environments with pollution levels above the organization's global guidelines. 93%. Electric vehicles that we saw out front today can help us make another step closer to reducing that huge number. As local leaders, it's our mission to connect sustainable practices with the overall good health of our residents. And just a few months ago, and I checked on it yesterday that things are starting to grow, we helped launch a giving garden. And these are popping up all throughout Miami Valley. And it's a way for our communities to grow fresh produce to directly feed the residents. Additionally, Montgomery County launched Dayton Regional Green, Lisa's baby, in 2011 after working to identify strategies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the region. Since then, Dayton Regional Green has delivered fun and exciting challenges to residents and companies in the Miami Valley, all while teaching sustainability and ways to reduce our carbon footprint. And as Nan mentioned, on a national level, we're encouraged by the Biden administration's push toward electric vehicles. As she mentioned, just last month, President Biden announced a $174 billion electric vehicle proposal while he was in Dearborn, Michigan. Looking ahead, our county will be sharing our sustainability plan, a document that takes a hard look at our current practices and identifies ways that we too can improve. We recognize that we have a lot of work to do, but we are encouraged by the growth and innovation around us that we see here in the Miami Valley, including what's happening here today. They're sticking together. I am encouraged by the leadership of all of you here today, and it's true. This is a rainy day, but this is an exciting idea, and I believe it's our future. So I'm encouraged by seeing all of you and the important role that you will play as we all come together to work to make Ohio and the Miami Valley not only a cleaner environment, and not only for us, but for our future generations. I thank you for giving me a chance to talk, and I too thank Tim Benford for pulling this all together. His dynamic spirit is so contagious, and I know you've all caught it too. Thank you for allowing me to be here, and thank you for showing up. And my next speaker will be Mark Charles, who's the manager of the City of Dayton Sustainability Center. Mark, it's yours.
Okay, got it. Put chargers by Starbucks, check. Actually, that's going to be my concluding remarks, as the work on chargers is underway, and the message is we're going to expand that, and I'll get to that in a moment. So this is really exciting for me. This is the first time I've been in front of anybody in a year and a half, and Tim and Allison are actually neighbors, and I haven't seen either of them for about that same year and a half, so this is very exciting to be here. The mayor's already gave you the impression of all of the activities going on in Dayton. What she didn't tell you was that sustainability strategy she mentioned has 115 different actions across every department in the city. So it's something for everybody there. But I'm going to focus most of my remarks on the electric vehicle revolution going on here and the electric landscape. So, as the mayor also mentioned, in April, the day before Earth Day, the mayor and commission passed a resolution that, among other things, called for 100% renewable or electric vehicles in our fleet. That's about 1,000 vehicles. So it sets a long-term goal, because you probably would see me after this in the hallway and say, why do you need 14 years? Well, we just bought a few vehicles last year, so we're not in a hurry to mothball those. And then there are other things, the big toys like fire engines. That's all included in the vehicle fleet. So it's going to take us a little while to both develop the market, but everybody is going to be moving forward kind of simultaneously, so I think there won't be a problem. You can, by the way, buy a fire engine now that's electric, but I think there will be more choices and better prices a few years from now. And once the 20 more models of EVs come out in the next 12 months, the market will increase quite a bit for regular sedans and light trucks. So there are a lot of steps to get to that goal of 100% of the fleet. The other good news is that the feds have pledged to do the same thing in a similar time frame. So every vehicle the federal government has, including the fire engines and other things that Forest Service may need, the Army Corps of Engineers may need, those are all going to turn over to EVs as well. So they're going to have to charge their vehicles. We can glom onto that and hopefully hopefully get to where we all need to be. Shortly after the mayor and commission passed that resolution, I got a call from our procurement manager, and she had actually taken me to task for drafting this resolution. Was a revolution as well. But she took me to task because she said, that's impossible, we're not going to get there. And of course she had no direct experience with EVs, unlike virtually everybody in this room. And so I said, I think you're going to see a big sea change in the next 3 to 5 years, and most of the vehicles in Dayton are going to be EVs. The other vehicles will be people still driving combustion engines who wish they had bought an EV. And so she called me very excited because we've already, since that time, put out a bid for a vehicle replacement. It's going to be an EV. So she had to call me and say, guess what? I was wrong. It was the low bid of 5 bidders on replacing this vehicle. So that process has already begun. We are also, one of the vendors here today is a company called Electrata. I don't know if you noticed their blue tent out in the parking lot. I noticed every tent in the parking lot because I went from one tent to the other tent to get around. So we are entering into an agreement with Electrata to install about 12 charging stations in the downtown area. They're going to be scattered around where people congregate and gather. And then we have a second list of places we would like to put additional chargers if the money becomes available. So the state of Ohio gave us the money. We put in a joint application to them, and they awarded us 100% of what we asked for, which told me I messed up. I should have asked for much more than I did. But we have a second tier of places to put additional chargers in, so we're not in any danger of running out anytime soon. One of those is right here in Carillon Park. You probably were looking around, given the theme of today's event, that there weren't any chargers in the parking lot. They've already said, we're interested now, and that may have had something to do with all of you gathering here. So that's going forward. And we're going to start an outreach program to would-be electric vehicle owners, including having them proactively install not charging stations, they don't need one of those, but a charging plug in their garage or in the side wall of their house, wherever they park their vehicles. And I think one of the arguments to be made is this is a selling point if you decide to turn your property over. People are going to be looking for homes where they can plug in. They may be bringing an EV with them or planning on getting an EV once they're settled. It's going to be, I think, very similar to, what do you mean you don't have a washer-dryer hookup? I have to have a washer-dryer hookup. I won't buy this house if I don't have one. And I think EV plugs are going to be the same way. Then we have the city's transportation plans that are going to look at, so what exactly are we going to do when 3 out of 4 gas stations are closing because nobody needs their product anymore? They can't all be coffee shops. So there's a land use challenge there that we're already starting to look at. And so we understand the streetscape is going to be different. People will still need to park, and they will need some charge, but a lot of people locally are going to use their home charging facility. But visitors, I think, are the real target. So working with the Chamber of Commerce, working with the tourist agencies are going to be critical. And I think on my list, reaching out to the hotel owners, there are a couple that have old chargers. They were very early adapters. They're probably better ones on the market these days, but there are lots of hotels that don't have a charger. So we need to visit with them, and as I said, and also clearly the Starbucks. So along the way, as the mayor mentioned, we are looking for suggestions and input to make our program as user-friendly and accessible as possible. What makes the most sense? I think once these first or second wave of chargers are installed, we'll need to start looking at what else can we do to make it convenient for EV owners. So if you have any suggestions on that, feel free to email us. Sustainability office is pretty easy to find. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I think the future is quite bright for EVs across the way. And so the next speaker up is Justin Morgan of Sinclair, the automotive shop.
Thank you for the introduction, and thanks to Green Energy Ohio, and a special thanks to Tim Bimford. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, Tim and another gentleman came to my office and said, "What are you guys doing at Sinclair with EVs? You guys need to be on the forefront. I understand you have an automotive program. What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, by chance, we're actually submitting a grant, a National Science Foundation grant, to do some training. Some of it's around connected and autonomous vehicles. And Sinclair's automotive program was fortunate enough to receive approximately $900,000 to do training on that. And what has came of that is a partnership with Tesla. And so Sinclair College is one of 8 Tesla START programs throughout the nation. And that's been a very good partnership. It actually started last year during the pandemic, and we have graduated about 24 to 25 graduates approximately over the past year. And fortunately, we're going to be able to provide a tour of our automotive building from about 2:30 to 4, where you can come and check out our Tesla Service Center as far as the training center. What's neat about that is we're getting students from all over Canada, from Canada, California, Colorado. Those individuals have an opportunity to go work at Tesla Service Centers when they graduate. And so they're coming in from all over, of course, Ohio as well, and then they're going and finding employment with Tesla Service Centers. So we're really excited about that. In addition, in our general automotive program, that's a little bit separate, we also have, we've been doing training on hybrid electric vehicles since 2004, 2005, whenever those started emerging. I know this is more EV focused, but we've been on the forefront of automotive technology here with Sinclair College and the Dayton YMCA. We've actually, our automotive program has existed since 1906. And that tradition of when the cars were first being mass produced and people needed to fix and service those vehicles, Sinclair was smart enough to go ahead and start offering training around that time. So one of the nation's oldest automotive program as well. And so we're pretty excited about that. Some of the things that we're doing there right now in our program is we have a hybrid electric vehicle course. So we mentioned workforce development there at Sinclair. How many of you are EV owners? Just a raise of hands for me. Yeah, so our goal basically is to make sure that you have talented young individuals that are coming out into the workforce to fix and repair those vehicles correctly. And we have a hybrid electric vehicles course, as I mentioned. We have a Chevy Volt, Toyota Prius. We have 2 Nissan Leafs. We have a Model 3 Tesla that's part of the purchase with grant funds. We're also working on getting a Chevy Bolt, fingers crossed. If not, we actually have some grant funds to purchase some more EVs. So at our parking lot there, we also have a couple charging stations. Met with a private donor yesterday that has donated over $100,000 to Sinclair's foundation to also have charging stations around campus. So we're pretty excited about that. So, you know, we're tasked with at Sinclair and the automotive program to make sure we're staying up with the automotive industry. As Mayor Dane Whaley announced, GM had said that you know, by 2035 we're going to have a full EV fleet, and there needs to be young people in the automotive industry that has been trained and educated on how to service those vehicles, do that safely as well. And our goal at Sinclair is to make sure that we're on the forefront of that. One thing that's actually going on currently is you even have some gasoline vehicle owners that are transitioning. Our hybrid electric vehicle class just recently is doing a VW bus conversion. They took the engine out and is doing a full EV conversion. And so that's one of our other chairpersons, our colleagues there. So our hybrid class got the opportunity to work and get about 80% complete on that project there as we move forward with that and hopefully complete that as parts come available. So that's one of our concerns there right now, is just parts availability. Right now I can tell you that Sinclair is in the works. The automotive department is writing its next NSF grant proposal to focus just on EV education. We have a summer institute that will be hosted next year. We'll be bringing in about 30 to 40 college automotive instructors to train them and prepare them on EV service. And then they will be going back to their community colleges and their programs and actually preparing those individuals to train and service their vehicles in their area, in their region. An extension of that is we're hoping to do that over the next 3 to 4 years with this new grant. So fingers crossed in October that proposal gets submitted. and is accepted by the National Science Foundation, and the Dayton region will continue to prepare people for the EV market and train automotive technicians. So I hope that I will see you later at Sinclair College. It's just about a 5 to 7 minute drive. Looks like the weather's going to hold off. We'll spend some time there looking at the Tesla Start program. And with that, it is my pleasure, and I apologize if I get this incorrectly, Lamise Mobislot, Dayton Region Green Director. Did I get that correct? Was that even close? All right, thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today and for arranging this. Tim, you've been tireless at this, and I'm so impressed with what you've done. Thank you so much. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Dayton Regional Green. It's a Montgomery County initiative that's been in place since 2012. The main goal of Dayton Regional Green is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from Montgomery and the surrounding counties. So our programs are not limited to Montgomery County. Actually, our network extends throughout the Miami Valley, all the way to Columbus and Cincinnati. From the very beginning, our focus has been to bring value to a green certification program with benefits that participants will encounter. That was truly highlighted with the relationship we have established with DP&L. So good to see AES today, our old friends here today. From that relationship, we gave green certified businesses 50% enhanced rebates. That truly allowed us to increase our number from a handful of businesses in 2012 to more than 900 today. In 2015, we always worked on collaboration and community engagement. So we took the green certification program up a notch, and we partnered again with DP&L and Vectren and launched Bring You Green Challenges. Through just 300 buildings that participated in Bring You Green Challenges, we removed more than 217,000 tons of carbon from the atmosphere. Participants realized more than $1.9 million in energy cost savings, and they received close to $4 million in enhanced rebates from DP&L. That's all money that goes back to the local community. As Nan has said, it's all about economic development. So what are the challenges today? Globally, we have to limit climate temperature increase to 1.5 degrees centigrade. Otherwise, we're going to reach that line in the sand that we should not surpass. Otherwise, there'll be irreparable damage that we will encounter in our own lifetime, not just our children or grandchildren. Locally, it's HB6. I mean, everybody said it is what it is. It's pretty much removed all energy efficiency and renewable energy standards. But despite that, we see localities across Ohio take 100% renewable energy, zero carbon pledges by 2050 or even 2030 for some of them. Sometimes they're not quite sure how they're going to reach that goal, but that's okay, because big, hairy, audacious goals are important. They're aspirational. They drive action and create excitement. Sometimes there isn't quite a consensus of what do we mean by 100% renewable or zero carbon. But what there's consensus about is that our buildings, they generate about 1/3 of all CO2 emissions. And our buildings are used pretty much 30% inefficiently. That's where DRG and the Bring certification program can come into value and can assist. As I said, the program is available for free for any organization throughout the state of Ohio. It enables participants to track their energy usage year to year and set a goal and see how they're going towards that goal. It also enables for them to track their greenhouse gas emissions progress. Actually, Montgomery County, we're using this platform to track our energy usage across all of our 40 main accounts for the sustainability plan that will be released soon. It enables us to kind of prioritize our buildings from worst to best, because the system does this automatically as you enter your utility bill, gas, electric data into the system. It also allows participants to create a culture of sustainability. Part of the program includes people's challenges to everyday person to encourage green and sustainable living. The last challenge we launched is the Green Garden Challenge. It's really about encouraging regenerative and sustainable agriculture, whether it's a little window box, a little part of your backyard, or an urban garden. It's about the combined impact that people will have when they all work together. So again, thank you so much, and if you want to check more on our program, just go to bringyougreen.com, and we hope that you join our programs. Thank you. Our next Tim Terrell from Plug Power.
Good afternoon, and thank you for taking the time this afternoon to come and share the excitement on electric vehicles. I represent Plug Power. We're a manufacturer of hydrogen fuel cells. We're located in Albany, New York. But here in Dayton, we have our state-of-the-art service center for our company. It's located right in West Carrollton. We have around 40,000 fuel cells operating across North America that power electric vehicles, primarily in the material handling industry. And a lot of people don't realize that electric vehicles, lots of times when you think about those, that they are battery powered, but an electric vehicle can be powered by any electrical source, right? So fuel cells are coming along, they've come a long way. Hydrogen is the most abundant element on Earth. This morning when I pulled in, I was thinking as it's raining that, hey, 2 parts of every drop that's coming down is hydrogen, right? And through electrolysis, we can get hydrogen. And we have emission-free power for our electric vehicles. And today we're excited. Through COVID, we were determined to be business essential. 30% of all groceries in North America are moved by our hydrogen fuel cells at Plug Power. Our largest customers are Walmart, of course, Amazon, Home Depot, as far as distribution goes. And then manufacturing, a lot of the auto manufacturers have moved to hydrogen fuel cell powered electric vehicles just for the productivity gains. They don't have the downtime from electrical charging, battery changes, and those things. So, and right here in Ohio, Southwest Ohio especially, if you go to a Walmart and get a product, it was more than likely moved there by a hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. The distribution center that's in Washington Courthouse, every piece of equipment in there is Plug Power fuel cell equipment. The Walmart in Monroe, the distribution center there, the Amazon in Monroe, there's a Home Depot in Luckey, Ohio. We're in Honda in Marysville. So we're very rich here in Southwest Ohio and across North America. And just want you to think about, we had a lot of people stop by this morning. There's a fuel cell powered electric car by Toyota that's out in the parking lot. And so I'm not pushing one over another. It takes all different types of solutions to reach our sustainability goals, right? Fuel cells is part of that, batteries are part of that, they all have their place. And we're proud to be here, and Plug Power is, we're excited about our future and the growth that we're experiencing. Today, just to give you an idea, we use around 30 tons of hydrogen in North America, and we have over 40,000 electric vehicles running across the U.S. So with that, I appreciate the time today, and the next speaker is Brent Boyd from Solar Power and Light. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my honor to be with you this afternoon talking about the intersection of clean energy and electric vehicles. Again, I'm Brent Boyd from Solar Power and Light, also a GEO, Green Energy Ohio board member. Solar Power and Light is a private local company headquartered right here in Miamisburg, and we've been in business for 10 years now. Providing clean energy all around the state of Ohio. You know, it's one thing to have an electric vehicle charging car or an electric vehicle, but it's another thing to charge that car with what we call brown power. You know, brown power is power produced by coal and other types of fossil fuels that are polluting the air, like I believe Mayor Whaley spoke about earlier. And so one of the things that we're in business to do is to provide clean energy to power electric vehicles. It's interesting that Tim Benford called and said, hey, would you all be interested in sponsoring the EV charging conference here in Dayton? And I'm like, absolutely. You know, this is what we've been waiting for, and so it's been our pleasure to be a statewide sponsor for this tour and sponsoring lunch here shortly. But we're seeing an upward trend in the adoption of EV charging cars and chargers here in the Miami Valley. We've installed quite a few of them already, including on Mr. Benford's house. You know, he called and I'm thinking, wow, this name sounds familiar. Did we install solar and EV charger at your house last year? He said, yeah, I'm the guy. And so it's just coincidental that here we are today promoting the rise of the electric vehicle charging stations. One project that I'd like to particularly highlight is about a mile from here. There's a community called Edgemont where we're right now donating solar and EV chargers on their local community center. And on top of that, I'd say 2 weeks ago we received funding, about $100 million of funding to build upwards of 100 megawatts of solar throughout the state of Ohio. And I didn't force their hand, but I just said, you know, we have a social justice project right here in the heart of Dayton that we've got to include in this package. So we're in the process of looking at building a $3 million solar farm on one of the GM brownfields right across the river there, where in addition to about 3 or 4 megawatts of solar, we intend to build an EV charging gas station. Not just one EV charger, but a fleet of EV chargers powered by clean energy produced right here in the heart of Dayton. So we're particularly excited and proud about bringing that project to bear that frankly we've been working on for about 4 years now, and we had the breakthrough when we signed this contract to build a large amount of solar on farmland and other, you know, land that has minimal use. And so, you know, we're excited about this, and I think Dayton should be excited that, you know, we're going to be leading the nation in sort of pilot projects like this, where we're marrying clean energy with electric vehicle charging technology. And I think that's the way of the future. You know, if you haven't noticed, mostly every major automotive manufacturer has announced we're not going to be making fossil fuel cars after either 2025 or 2030 and beyond. And so as you think about it, this is just another technological transition that we've seen for years. I remember when I was a teenager in the 70s, 80s, dating myself, but cable TV was hitting the scene. If anyone remembers MTV, that was one of the major kind of cable programming channels that came out when I was a teenager. And, you know, broadcast television fought cable for many years, but who won out? It was the cable TV industry. And so electric vehicle charging and electric vehicles is that next big technological shift of shifting from fossil fuel cars to electric vehicle charging cars. And so it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time and how long it will take. And so when we hear, you know, the GMs of the world and the Fords of the world saying, hey, we're just going to stop making the fossil fuel cars, then the next thing is, okay, we're going to charge them. And Jane so eloquently, you know, talked about that. I'll share a story. My CEO and I were coming back from Columbus about 4 years ago with one of our fleet Teslas, and it was during the winter, and it was new, and we really didn't fully understand that batteries don't perform as well in the winter as they do in the summer. We got as far as Jeffersonville, and we said to ourselves, I don't think we're going to make it back to Dayton. And there was nowhere to charge. It just so happens that I had a friend in Jamestown that I called up and said, hey, can we stop over and charge for a couple hours so we can get home? And so that's going to be a bigger and bigger problem. It's going to force the industry to make the shift to EV charging gas stations. And we're here to make certain that when that shift happens, we're powering those charging stations with clean energy. And so we're looking forward to being a part of this this new wave in technology, and we're here to help, and we're looking for partners, and we're looking for customers. And so I just ask that you remember solar power and light when you're considering your shift to EV chargers and electric vehicles. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is an old friend, Rob Beeler from AES. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I know I stand between you and lunch, so I promise to be brief. My name is Rob Beeler. I'm a program manager with AES Ohio, formerly Dayton Power and Light. I'd like to thank Green Energy Ohio and Drive Electric Dayton, as well as Carillon Park, for hosting the event today. For more than a century, DP&L has delivered safe, reliable, and affordable energy to our customers here in the Dayton region. AES acquired DP&L in 2011, and we recently changed our name to better reflect the global resources and expertise, innovation and technology that we bring to our customers. So AES is committed to a sustainable future. The utility is making investments in smart grid and grid resiliency to better prepare for electric vehicles and the need for charging infrastructure that we've heard a lot with the speakers today. The growth that we'll see in electric vehicles is indeed a key part of the sustainable future that a lot of people have talked about. So that is certainly we're a key partner in helping to make that happen. You'll hear more in the coming months about AES Ohio investments, not only to prepare for electric vehicles and the grid, but also a smarter grid overall to include automated outage reporting, a self-healing grid to isolate outages and keep people power on during outage situations, and supporting the growth of clean energy across the grid. Customers will experience new energy services to help them make better decisions of energy usage and potentially lowering their costs. So utility investments in new technology will allow us to better understand how we use energy, where the energy needs to go, and allow for additional customer choices to include batteries, clean energy, and perhaps even vehicle-to-grid programs to allow customers to prepare and power the homes with the necessary power they need during an outage situation. I'm glad to see the wonderful turnout today. So again, thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, we have several of the AES Ohio leaders here with us today to share and also to learn a little bit from you in terms of what you see as those potential barriers and how we can support from an infrastructure perspective. So Scott, do you want to close it out to finish up? So thank you very much.
So I have absolutely the last thing between you and lunch, but let me just say once again, thank you to everybody for coming out today on what is undeniably an inclement weather day. This is an exciting story. As we mentioned at the beginning, this is I think something like the 12th or 13th stop on our week-long tour of the state of Ohio. We have been in Northeast Ohio in the Cleveland area and Youngstown area. Yesterday we were in Worcester and Oberlin. Today we're in Dayton. This afternoon we'll be in Cincinnati. Tomorrow we'll be in Southeast Ohio in Logan and Athens, and then we'll wrap up in Columbus on Friday. And with a visit to OSU and Yellow Cab, who is electrifying their vehicle fleet. And we'll have a finale Friday afternoon at the Smart Columbus Experience Center to celebrate all of the work that's going on throughout the state of Ohio. So once again, thank you to all of you. Please enjoy. We're going to, so the program, the rest of the day, the rest of the show today is to go back outside if you've got wet weather gear, and continue to enjoy and discuss the electric vehicles that are with us today. And then please join us if you can for the tour of Sinclair's electric vehicle training program. And that will begin at 2:30, Justin, right? Okay. And we've got maps. There's a map on every table, so if you're interested, take a picture of that, and that'll help you get to the location there. And we will do small groups. We'll just have to kind of play it by ear. I think we discussed we'll play it by ear and see what the turnout is, and then we'll try to kind of work people through for that. But we've got 90 minutes allocated for that. So thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your day and wonderful rest of your week. Take care.